Hi, I've been asked how to play a perfect stun shot recently. Now, it's not a term that I've ever come across before, but it seems to have originated from a video that Pool School did a couple of weeks ago. And it just highlights how much people watch different creators' content, because I've been asked about this. In the past I've been asked about other things as well that different creators have mentioned. Sean Murphy's one on check versus run inside seemed to confuse everyone, and I got asked about that a lot. Now, the perfect stun shot in Pool School's eyes was where you've got a straight shot like this and you want to stun it in and kind of stop the cue ball dead. Okay, just like that. I have heard it called, I think in US pool, this shot here would be called a stop shot. Now that does make sense, you're stopping the cue ball. But again, it's just a stun shot. Now, to stop the cue ball dead like that on a dead straight shot, it's not going to come up very often. And let's say, for example, you do have a straight shot and you do want to stun it in. To me, there's probably never going to be cause that you need to hit it and stop it dead. You know, if you bring it back very, very slightly, like that, or if you run it through very, very slightly, you know, it's probably not going to make a big difference to position. The way that I would play a shot and try and stop it dead is I would pretty much always try and hit the middle of the cue ball. And the mechanics of my shot are the same as they are on a lot of shots. You know, you want to be in line, you want a good backswing, deliver the cue straight, your timing to be good, your cue to be level, and try and hit that cue ball in the centre. Now, to me, you know, if you do that, it is all about the speed of the shot, whether it stops or not. Because what you're trying to do is, as the cue ball is moving towards this ball, now you can see in the camera the cue ball is smaller. Now this makes a difference in this cue sport. If I hit this shot hard, what the cue ball wants to do, because that's smaller, wants to bounce back the way. So it's always going to come back the way if you hit it hard. Even if you hit it hard with topspin, what will happen is it bounces back and then the topspin kicks in and it moves forward. Now, if you hit a topspin shot, the cue ball rotates like this, okay? So when it gets there, it wants to follow through. If you hit a backspin shot, cue ball is rotating like this, so by the time it gets there, it comes back. Now to stop the ball, what you're wanting to do is almost have no rotation on the ball. So when you hit it in the middle, what's going to happen is it will skid, okay? Ball will skid or slide towards object ball. Depending on how hard you hit it, that skid will wear off and it will start running through slightly. So you're trying to get it to the object ball while it is still skidding, and that way it should pretty much stop. Now, for me, that's all about the pace, and it will depend on how far away you are from the ball as well. So for example, if I've got this shot, I can just do this. You can see the cue ball stops. But if I've got a shot here and I hit it at the same speed, you can see the cue ball runs through. So it's all about the speed, it's all about judging how far it's going to skid. But, I mean, that's not the only way to play a stun shot. A stun shot doesn't just happen when you've got a straight shot, you know. You play stun shots all the time. For example, if I've got this and I want to bring that ball out, I hit it with topspin. You see I'm not getting near it. If I hit it with backspin, I'll end up behind the ball. So to move that ball off the cushion, I would need to play a stun shot. So if I hit it like this, bring it back a little bit. So if I hit it like this, stun shot, you can see I bring it out. Let me show you another one. Let's say, for example, for some reason, we've got a couple of balls down here and we want to bring them out into play. Let's say we've got a shot like this, we hit it with topspin, you can see we're getting nowhere near it. We hit it with backspin, and our cue ball is going down that side. So to break them open, you would need to play a stun shot. So if we set this up now, what happens with the stun shot as well is if it's not a dead straight shot like that, the stun is going to hit the ball. Now you saw it with topspin, the natural path it wants to take is towards there. If it stuns, it widens that angle. So it's going to widen it up off there, and we'll hopefully get somewhere down near those balls. Now the harder you hit it, the wider that angle is going to take. So if I had it quite soft, you can see it's heading towards this way. So it might have a chance of getting there. But if we hit the same shot harder, let's try it like this. Still not made it, but we're getting closer. Let's get a few more balls out. So you see there, we've stunned it into there. So a stun shot can be played almost any part of the table. It's probably for beginners, it's probably the most common shot. You know, before you really learn how to play backspin, topspin and sidespin well, you'll play stun shots quite a lot of the time. There is one very slight variation on a stun shot that I'm going to caveat right now. It is very, very rarely played on this type of pool, and it is because of the difference in size of the balls. In fact, I can't even think of a time that I have ever played it or ever would. So I'm going to give you a little example here. Let's say we're on yellow balls. Okay, these balls don't exist. We're on yellow balls. We've got this one here, and let's bring it to here. And we've got a shot like that. In snooker and American pool, you've got an option of a stun run through. Now basically you would use it, so you can hit the ball with a bit of purpose and get the cue ball to move forward to get on that ball. And it works when the cue ball and the object ball are the same size. Now what you would do is you would hit a tiny bit above centre ball. Not enough that you're making the cue ball rotate like that, but enough so that it skids and it's almost like pushing through after the ball. Now you're quite often, if you watch snooker, you'll hear the commentators say it's the hardest shot in the game. And it's not the hardest shot to pot the ball, but it's the hardest shot to judge how much that cue ball is going to move through. But it's certainly a lot easier in snooker and American pool than it is here. Because like I said, the natural path of that cue ball wants to come back the way. So unfortunately, if you play this variation of pool, if you've got a shot like this, how you would tend to play this is a topspin shot. And obviously you have to hit this quite soft because you want your cue ball to get through to about there. Now a couple of things with that. Firstly, you're relying on the table to run well because you're playing over quite a distance. You're trusting you're not going to hit any chalk marks, the table's level and all that kind of stuff. The second thing is, if you are under pressure and there's tension in your body, most of the time you want to kind of play shots with a bit more speed, a bit more force, and release some of that tension from your body. But also, if there's tension in your body and you're playing a soft shot, you almost tend to underhit it. Because you'll end up gripping your cue tighter and sooner than you normally would. So you tend to almost underhit things, jab at things, but also with that tension there's more risk of cueing offline. And if you play it slow and cue offline, you're probably going to miss that shot. Unfortunately, in this variation of pool, it's pretty much the only shot that we have got. So let's see if we can judge this well. Now my back arm is in agony here, so I'll probably miss this shot. Missed it by a mile. But you see, and that wasn't the table, that was me. But you see, I ran that cue ball through there. Now, that's a good example actually. I've got frozen shoulder in here and it's caused me a lot of pain to deliver the cue, and I'm kind of shaking on the shot. So it's almost replicating tension, and you saw how much I missed that when I tried to hit it soft. So I'm going to try the same shot again, but I'm going to hit it harder. Now, hopefully I'll get closer. But to try and run this through, I'm going to try and play a stun run through. So I'm going to hit a tiny bit above centre ball and get that cue ball moving through. So you see, I've done not too bad there. So you see the speed that I hit that at. So just pay attention, the cue ball's probably gone through about a foot. I hit that quite hard. I'm going to play the same shot again. I'm going to try and hit it at the same speed, but this time I'm going to put topspin on it. I just want you to watch the difference. So if I hit topspin on it this time, so up, 3/4 of the way up the cue ball, same kind of speed, you can see it's travelled through much further. And you can see on both those shots there, where I hit it a little bit harder, I potted the ball really cleanly. So it just goes to show that there is tension. Well, it's not tension, it's pain in my arm, but it's similar to tension. You can see I was much more confident, I had much more purpose, and I potted the balls cleaner when I was able to hit them hard. So in pool and snooker, you would probably try that that first shot where you're hitting a stun run through, you're hitting it a little bit harder and almost pushing the cue ball through. Unfortunately, in our sport, you probably wouldn't play it. In fact, if you do play this sport and you would play the stun run through there, let me know in the comments. So let's just see how many people would play it. But because it was so bad, I'm going to grab the cue ball and I'm going to try the little run through shot again, just so I can finish on a high. So take 2 in this little run through this time. Much better. So that's how you would normally play that shot in this type of pool. Thanks for watching and I hope that's helped.